Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming and welcome to another first Descendant video. So earlier today we got the dev stream 30th of October and this was to preview episode 2 starting on the 6th of November. So we got a lot of announcements, a lot of interesting things, and yeah, overall I thought this was a good stream. They covered quite a lot of things, upcoming content. They also did a Q&A, things like that. So I'll go over this quickly. They have released a summary as well, so I'll be using this and then I'll show some footage or screenshots from the dev stream as well. So yeah, I'll put the link here if you wanted to read up. And there's a full live stream, 3 and a bit hours on the channel if you wanted to have a look. So first up, they started with the, talking about the disappointments with the October updates, the sword farming issue, the sword pass, Halloween skins quality, and things like that. We've already covered this, but basically they kind of indirectly said that the sword pass thing is not going to happen again. So clearly this did not work out and there was a lot of backlash. So I don't think this is going to happen. Sword farming fatigue, they said they'll look into it and see if they can make it easier even further by giving away the keys through various events and things like that. Again, this was expected. And then the Halloween skins, they've already mentioned this. They'll focus on improving the quality if they make them individual. And also they'll be giving away the skins in various events, the maid skins that were supposed to come out. Then they shared the trailer for the episode 2 and the Harris trailer. And the story will continue from where we left off at the end of episode 1. And this will finish this whole arc. And they basically said that at the start of the game, with the whole Karel story, this will also kind of complete that major storyline as well. So it's going to be interesting as this is going to be a major turning point in the story. Now, besides this, we are getting the supermassive Receptor dungeon. Now, the good news is this is not a void vessel. That was a typo. This is not a void vessel. This is one of these things in the Axian planes that you see. So yeah, so basically they're expanding the Axian planes as I expected, and they'll be adding more content and dungeons in the Axian planes. So this is a massive dungeon that you'll go and start from the Axian planes, and you have, again, various things inside it. It's so massive that you can see Colossus specimens hanging around here. And there's a new boss here called Pattern Flores. Now this got me curious because Glay's daughter was Pattern Elias. So I'm wondering if this is also another human captured into an oblivion or something like that that we might see in the future. But yeah, this is interesting nonetheless. Now, of course, the new Descendant for this season is Harris. Now, Harris turns out to be a toxic type with tech and fusion abilities, tech and fusion archetype. And I did not see crit numbers here, and the build they shared, the basic build they shared in the development build, did not seem to have any crit mods either. So she looks like a normal non-crit Descendant, toxic type. And of course, we have a lot of fire descendants and a few electric descendants. So it was either going to be chill or toxic, and it seems to be toxic on this occasion. She's got an interesting story. She was like forced to awaken her RK, and as a result, she's now a Descendant, and she has interesting movesets. Basically, her abilities are involving her exo arms as well as some normal abilities, and yeah, we'll get into more details once she's out and we can use her. 2 transcendent mods called Focus Supervision Time and Safety Training Time. Also, regarding skins for her, they will include her NPC look in the battle supply shop as they did for Nell. So you can get the NPC look because a lot of people prefer that, so you can get that. And yeah, so that is all there. And again, we'll look into this. I might make a separate video on Harris as well. But yeah, for now, I just wanted to summarize everything. So 2 transcendent mods, safety training time, focus supervision, and the usual skills. Next, we move on to the new Ancestors module. This is kind of interesting because I think what they're trying to do probably with this one is instead of constantly buffing Descendants, they could potentially use these mods, and they work in a way where they can combine multiple mods into one. So basically, instead of putting 2-3 mods that we put on the Descendants, we can use one Ancestor module, and that will do the job of 2-3 modules and save you some space. So this is definitely going to be an interesting thing. And now the other thing is these stats on these ancestor modules, they can be re-rolled. So like we do with the bike, for example, you can re-roll these. And also this will use Kuiper shards. So all of us who have been collecting those hundreds of millions of Kuiper shards, now it's the time to use them. So make sure to pick up any Kuiper that you see in events and things like that, Kuiper boosts and things like that. And so this might come in handy. Now, this is again very interesting, and this works as a normal mod. It can be used in one of the normal mod slots. You don't need to put it in the Transcendent or something. And these options, they can roll. One will always be a negative type of option, and then you can get various tiers of the other options. You can get up to 4 in total, and either 2 very good ones or 3 decent ones and 1 negative one and things like that. So again, you have to re-roll to get ideal mods. Now, the Ancestors module, they will be available in like daily activities, and you cannot farm them continuously and get a lot of them. You have to do the Sigma Sector, the Wall Crasher, and it will also be available through ETA shops. So yeah, so this is going to be interesting. So like we do the high value relic from Sigma Sector, or we collect the coins for the lounge decorations. We do a mission a couple of times and we get certain coins. So this is sort of like that. So basically what they're trying to do is instead of you farming nonstop for 17 hours, you have to farm a little bit every day. I think that is the strategy over here. Now, regarding the next interesting thing is the trading system. So if you saw my video from a week ago where I was talking a little bit about this, it turns out it is going to be a caliber trade. And again, this is the first iteration, so they're being very careful and very limited with how you can trade. So what will happen is you will be able to trade trigger modules and then the ancestor modules. But only the modules that have been in the game for at least a month will be available to trade. So for example, the ancestor modules are coming in November, but we'll only be able to trade them in December. So you can't trade them now. So any trigger modules that are going to be added in November, same thing, you won't be able to trade them until December. So when this launches, you'll only be able to trade stuff that has already been out in the last 2 or 3 months. So that should be interesting. And of course, the seller will pay a small trade fee. Again, this is normal for a lot of games. The buyer doesn't have to pay it. And of course, they have given an example of 40 caliber. Probably, I don't think it'll go that high initially because these are kind of common. So I'm expecting 10, 20. If anybody is interested in buying, I think that would be a more fair price. But again, something very rare, like you get double gold max rolls on Storm Bullet or something like that. Yeah, that might get some more. But yeah, this is an interesting first iteration of the trading system. Hopefully they can add into it, improve it. And also, by the way, this needs, there is like a small trade related quest, and you'll need to be mastery rank 15 before you can trade this. So they are being very careful, and let's see. We'll have to try this a few times, and it will definitely need a few patches and improvements before it's streamlined and smooth enough to work, if it works. Now, also, this will be available from the web marketplace and the phone app. So yeah, phone app is probably going to get updated, and you can do that. So this should be interesting. And then you have to form a party with the person who's interested, and then you can do the trade. So again, lots of things here to see how this works out. Anyway, we shall see, but I'm very interested to see how this further improves. Next up is the Battle Pass. So again, interesting Battle Pass. They have a night theme with the whole swords and stuff. So universal skin for males and females, and a few skins and emotes and things like that as usual. I think overall Battle Pass is good. There's a skin for the new sword as well, the Hypernova. And yeah, the universal sets, a lot of emotes and things like that. There are 2 weapons this time. So there's the Hypernova Sword. And this is like a smaller sword, lighter, faster, rapid strikes basically. And the ultimate is very interesting, where you throw the sword and it sort of pulls all the enemies in together, like throws them together, it does damage, and then it returns to you like a boomerang. So I thought that looked pretty cool. And they have also added a skin for the Deus Ex Manus in the Battle Pass, so that should be good. Now, the other weapon, which is a very interesting idea, is a Vulgus weapon, basically. It's called a Hive Master, where there are some insects here, and you shoot at the enemy, and the insects hit the other enemies in between. So again, very interesting. I think it's developed by Eugen or someone they mentioned. If you saw the journal in the first episode where we were collecting different pieces of Volgas and studying them in the notes, I think this is like connected to that lore-wise. So again, very interesting. Now, ultimate modules. They have added a lot of modules. So they'll be adding 32 sword modules, 18 ultimate modules, 19 mutant cells, and bunch of trigger modules as well. I forgot how many, but quite a lot of modules coming, which will definitely change the way builds work. If you have tried the Wave eruption module, you know that you can use multiple or different, I should say, elements with it. So there's a similar mod that will do the same thing. So even if you are, let's say, an electric descendant, you can put something that gives you chill effects and things like that. So again, this should be interesting to implement and see how this works. They're also adding 2 external component sets. Again, one has got a lot of toxic power, which is designed for Harris, but having a quick look, I think it should work with Freyna as well quite nicely. All right, so besides this, we have the major rework to Hailey. Now, Hailey gets a very nice rework. We have been waiting to see something for Hailey. They are buffing the cryogenic cluster transcendent module, and they're adding 2 more ultimate modules for Hailey. And the second one, called Cold Hard, that one seems to give her more skill-based abilities, could say similar to Viesa in a way. And I think that one is definitely, in my opinion, going to get some more use. They've also made some improvements to Glay. So fire rate, sprint speed, critical hit damage, some of these things are getting improved based on the augmentation course. So we'll see. They did not, I don't remember them talking much about Glay. So we'll have to see how this works in the game next week. Next, we have some quality of life improvements. And basically, they did not show any gameplay or anything, but what they were saying was Wall Crasher is going to be readjusted so that it is more resistant to multi-hit damage, meaning Serena gets an indirect nerf. Okay. They'll also reduce the health of the Wall Crasher, and they're also going to reduce the resistance of Wall Crasher to crit damage. So the crit-based descendants will do more damage. Serena will do less damage, but she'll still do fine because the Wall Crasher will have a little less health. And so they're trying to close the gap between the skill-based descendants and Serena without actually nerfing Serena, if that makes sense. So we shall see. But they still said that Serena was still doing very well, but the gap has been reduced. So yeah, let's see. Avoid erosion. Basically, they were saying that in the challenge mode, they'll set the Legion of Darkness as the enemy faction for all 5 stages so that it's a bit more easier. You don't have to constantly change builds and things like that. You can use the same. So again, we shall see some more changes to the photo mode, some more natural lighting adjustments so you can change the day, night, etc. and get results because of that. Again, they did not show anything, but this was just mentioned. Next, we have the collab Bayonetta, and there'll be 1 single skin, universal skin with this theme, and there'll be a last dagger skin and a bunch of emotes. Spawn, I think, animation as well. And so these things will be added with the collab. And they did say that in the future, they will be adding more gameplay related things. But for now, this is like something they had already done previously. So this is for now what you'll be getting. Then, of course, they had some more skins, some premium skin for Valby and Nell. There was the biker skin, skins for the 2 bikes and things like that. And yeah, so basically that was the other things. And of course, at the end, we have the events. So there'll be some events and you will be able to get an Ultimate Descendant box in one of the events. And you will also get the Serena maid skin that was supposed to come out last week. And so this will be part of the login event called Feast of Abundance. So yeah, so that is basically all the things mentioned in this stream. Also, there will be an album, Luna album released as well. So again, if people like that, you can check it out. I think this is released already, like today. Yeah, so those are the things. Like overall, I thought this was excellent. Looks very promising. I'm very curious about the trading system. I'm not expecting it to get a great launch immediately, but it'll definitely be interesting because if it's like 20-30 caliber for something really nice, something rare with like 2 double gold rows, I don't see it as that big a deal. And it'll also, get some economy going. So that should be interesting. But again, at the moment, there are not enough players, I feel. So we shall see how this works out. But yeah, they are being careful, and we should see how this goes in the future. For the massive dungeon, it's a relief that it is not a void vessel. If you remember at the start of the season, I did say that Axion Plains is like a good foundation. They'll probably be adding more missions and more dungeons, and basically this is what happened. I think the confusion came about because in the previous roadmap, they had mentioned the supermassive Receptor dungeon as a void vessel. So that caused a lot of confusion. So it's not a void vessel, it's a dungeon on Axion Plains. And yeah, the bosses look interesting. Harris looks very interesting. We are going to conclude the story because this is like the main story that we are kind of concluding, or maybe starting another one, Karel's story basically. They had a lot of Q&A answers as well, and they answered quite a lot of things. But overall, yeah, I'm happy with the direction. Game is not shutting down or anything. They were laughing it off. And so yeah, everything is okay, and we'll be getting content as usual. And I'll be happily making content as I have been for the last year and a bit. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
And the final question was whether the first Descendant will shut down, and that will not be happening.